An underground bunker hidden beneath a mansion in Beverly Hills. Not part of some doomsday prep or luxury remodeling, but part of something far more disturbing. When the FBI quietly raided the home of Janice Combs, yes, the mother of Sean Diddy Combs, no one expected it to be anything more than a routine search tied to financial crimes. But what they discovered has left agents stunned, the industry shaken, and the public demanding answers. Encrypted hard drives, names of underage performers, mysterious party invitations, and a level of coordination that suggests this wasn't just some isolated scandal, but the tip of a much darker network. And at the center of it all, one of the most influential figures in modern entertainment. This isn't just a story about fame, fortune, or even fraud. This is about power, silence, and secrets that may have been buried, literally, for years. But once the FBI opened that bunker, there was no going back.
It started like any other investigation.
Quiet, methodical, and under the radar. No sirens, no breaking news. Just a team of federal agents pulling up to a sprawling mansion owned by Janice Combs, mother of global music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Officially, the warrant was tied to allegations of money laundering and possible financial misconduct. But insiders now say the FBI had been watching the property for months, tipped off by a former associate who claimed something far more sinister was hidden within the estate. The raid itself was intentionally kept out of the press. No leaks, no cameras, because what they were looking for, and what they found, wasn't meant for public eyes. According to sources close to the case, it wasn't just financial documents they were after. They were searching for physical evidence tied to a larger, ongoing probe, one that spanned borders, industries, and powerful names. And when agents broke through a concealed wall beneath the home, they uncovered something no one could have predicted. But what they found inside that hidden bunker changed the course of the entire investigation. At first glance, the underground chamber looked like a high-end panic room. Thick steel doors, reinforced walls, and biometric security. But this wasn't designed for safety. It was designed for secrecy. Agents entering the bunker were met not with survival gear or emergency supplies, but with rows of locked storage cases, encrypted hard drives, and stacks of meticulously organized files. Not one, but multiple blacklists were recovered, many containing names, ages, and vague descriptions next to coded party invites. Some of the documents referenced young artists, some allegedly minors, with annotations linking them to private sessions and exclusive industry gatherings. Even more chilling, digital records hinted at a system of controlled access events, each invitation tracked, coded, and logged through offshore servers. And then there were the photographs, dozens of them tucked inside a lead-lined drawer. Most were blurred, low-resolution images, but they weren't the kind you'd expect in a family home. The kind that raised serious, immediate questions. According to leaks from someone close to the investigation, one document even mentioned the phrase talent pipeline, a term often used in entertainment, but in this context, its meaning seemed far more disturbing. And once agents began decrypting the files, what they found painted an even darker picture. As the FBI combed through the bunker's files, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. One that wasn't random, improvised, or accidental. It was structured, organized, systematic. The documents revealed a repeating cycle. Young performers, many underage or just entering the industry, were identified through talent scouts, social media, or industry connections. These names were then flagged and filtered into a database labeled event candidates. From there, invitations were allegedly sent out, often under the guise of exclusive career opportunities, or elite industry parties. But according to investigative insiders, some of these gatherings were anything but innocent. There were references to access tiers, private mentorship weekends, and even compliance testing, all terms that, on paper, sounded harmless, but when paired with the ages and names involved, became far more sinister. Even more alarming, money trails led to foreign accounts, shell corporations, and holding firms based in jurisdictions notorious for loose regulations. That funding, agents say, may have been used to keep the entire operation running, including paying off insiders and silencing would-be whistleblowers. And through it all, one name kept coming up, again and again. But Diddy wasn't the only one being mentioned, and the deeper the FBI looked, the wider the net began to stretch.
At first,
Most people assumed Janice Combs was just collateral, the unfortunate owner of a home used by her son for shady dealings. But the evidence is suggesting something far more unsettling. Multiple sources now claim that Janice wasn't just living in the mansion, she may have been actively managing parts of the operation from behind the scenes. Internal communications recovered from one of the encrypted drives mention a JC approving certain lists and overseeing logistics for guest arrivals. Could that be anyone else? One investigator reportedly told media off record this wasn't someone caught in the crossfire. She might have been directing traffic. The bunker itself, hidden beneath her property, appeared far too deliberate, far too customized to be something she knew nothing about. One file, allegedly labeled Mother Node, was linked to an encrypted server containing communication logs and access schedules tied directly to her estate. And then there's the witness testimony. A former household staffer, now cooperating with the FBI, claims Janice would often receive sealed envelopes from couriers, always late at night, always locked away immediately. The same staffer hinted that high-profile guests would sometimes enter through the back of the property, never announced, never publicized. It's led many to ask, was Janice Combs just a concerned mother, or was she the central gatekeeper for something far more dangerous? And it's not just her inner circle under scrutiny anymore. Some of the names tied to this are enough to make anyone's jaw drop. As investigators decrypted more of the drives and pieced together the digital trail, the revelations didn't stop with Diddy or his inner circle. In fact, they barely started there. Buried within the documents were references to guest lists and coded aliases, names linked to some of the biggest players in the entertainment world. Some of them were easily deciphered. Others were linked through metadata, flight records, or financial transactions buried under layers of shell companies. One name in particular appeared multiple times next to the phrase, "Green Room Confirmed," a term investigators believe referred to pre-screened access to private events. Another file linked a well-known record executive to a payment labeled "For Discretion, March Event." Speculation is now spiraling online, with fans and watchdog groups cross-referencing tour dates, party appearances, and leaked photos to try and uncover who else might have been in those rooms. Already, several public figures have gone into damage control mode, lawyering up, locking their accounts, and issuing vague, no-comment statements through PR reps. Insiders suggest the list of names could include not just music moguls, but film producers, talent agents, and even media executives. People with the reach and resources to keep things buried for years. And if the rumors are true, some of those people are already being quietly questioned by federal investigators. But while the walls were closing in on the powerful, fans were taking matters into their own hands. And Diddy's empire? It was already starting to collapse.
almost overnight,
Everything began to unravel. Sponsors pulled their logos from his projects. Brands, once eager to collaborate, went silent. Artists, who had long worked with Diddy, started distancing themselves, carefully deleting photos and removing mentions from social media. Online, the backlash was swift and unforgiving. Hashtags like Mute Diddy and Justice for Victims surged across platforms, sparking heated debates and calls for accountability. Fans who once defended him now openly questioned everything, demanding transparency and answers. Even some insiders say the man known for his ironclad control over his image is now struggling to keep his inner circle together. Trusted collaborators have reportedly turned on him, and whispers of deals being made behind closed doors to avoid further exposure are growing louder. And yet, despite the public fallout, the FBI's investigation is far from over. Because this story isn't just about a fall from grace, it's about a system built to protect those in power, and what happens when that system finally begins to crack. While the spotlight remains fixed on Diddy and his immediate circle, experts warn, this could be just the beginning of a much larger reckoning. For years, whispers of similar operations have circulated behind closed doors in the entertainment world. Rumors of youth exploitation, secret parties, and carefully hidden networks designed to groom and control young talent. But until now, concrete evidence has been scarce. The FBI's call for more victims to come forward suggests investigators are piecing together a far-reaching web, one that crosses state lines and international borders. If true, this could expose a systemic problem that has been protected by power, money, and silence for decades. Some insiders believe this case will be a tipping point, forcing the industry to confront uncomfortable truths and perhaps begin to dismantle the very structures that allowed this to happen. And while the investigation unfolds, the public watches closely, demanding justice, accountability, and most of all, change. What started as a quiet FBI raid has exploded into a scandal, shaking the very foundations of the entertainment industry. From a hidden bunker beneath Janice Combs' mansion to a sprawling network that could implicate some of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, this story reveals a side of fame and fortune few dared to imagine. But this isn't just about Diddy or even one mansion. It's about a system built on secrecy, manipulation, and silence. A system that has allowed abuse to flourish in plain sight. As the investigation widens and more voices come forward, the world is left to wonder, how deep does this go? And can the industry finally reckon with its darkest truths? One thing is certain, the public is watching, demanding answers, and pushing for justice. The truth may be buried deep, but it's finally starting to surface.